Hey, how are you? So sorry about that little technical glitch there. I am Joshua Santora, and would normally be coming to you live from the Kennedy Space Center, but today I'm actually coming to you live from my house. So as most of America and as most of the agency is experiencing, I'm working from home, but still trying to bring you great content, talking about things that are ongoing. We're making life work as best as we can. It's kind of a crazy time, but today specifically, we're talking about Mars and the Martian surface. Specifically, we want to be talking about the Mars rover, Mars 2020, recently given the title Perseverance, named by a school at a Lake Braddock Secondary School in Burke, Virginia. Gave it this beautiful name. So this is part of the NASA at Home series we're bringing you. And it's not just me today. I have a few friends joining me actually. So I want to check in with them. So first up, we've got Kenna Pell. And Kenna is with NASA Public Affairs. She's up there on the top right-hand corner of your screen. So thanks, Kenna, for being here. How are you? Whoops, sorry about that. Try that one more time for me, Kenna.
Said, hey, Joshua, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah, sorry about that. We're good to go. Next up, we've got David Stafford. David, how are you today?
Hey, Josh, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good, yeah. Both you and our next guest, Ben Marti. Am I saying that right, Ben?
Yes, you are, Joshua.
Awesome. So Ben and David both coming to us live, now actually from Florida. So usually they're located over at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California. But today they're in Florida. But before we dive into their stories, Kenna's going to duck out here. She's keeping an eye on the questions that we've got going. You can use hashtag NASA at home. You can also use the stream here, the comment stream, to comment as well. And she'll jump in here in a little bit if we have those questions. So I'm going to just jump in here, David, with you. Tell me a little bit about your role and what brings you guys all the way to Florida with this amazing rover.
Well, for the project from 2020, I'm the Mechanical Ground Systems Engineering lead for the ATLO team. And so my role essentially is I'm sort of the lead of all of these sort of large tooling, or all the tooling that helps with all the integration activities that support the rover and the spacecraft all the way up to launch. And so we're responsible for everything from small hardware to up to large hardware. And then along with that, I also had the responsibility of basically shipping the program. So I was sort of the lead person in charge to have the responsibility to basically take our high bay at JPL and move it all the way across country to Kennedy so we can continue the last of our integration activities.
That's fantastic. So, and I want to make sure that people appreciate kind of what that means. You say pack up a high bay. We're not talking about a few pieces of gear here. And earlier you mentioned to me specifically how many vehicles you had to use, and what were those numbers again?
Yeah, so in order to move the program, it took about 3 sort of develop it move campaigns. And so all told, it took about 18 semi-trucks, 3 C-17s, and a whole core of people and individuals from us, the civilian side, all the way to the military, in order to safely move all the hardware we need for integration, all of the flight key aspects and the flight vehicles themselves, and then also with that, moving all the personnel. So it was a pretty large activity that spanned over quite a few months and very key shipments.
Yeah, it's good you mentioned the personnel, because I think it's easy to remember that we're talking about a rover and all the things to get it into space, but there's a lot of people that have to do that. And the people with the expertise come from California. They're at JPL. So glad everybody is still making great progress. Ben, I want to hear from you too. I know that you support David, and you also have some other roles. So what do you do for JPL?
I'm an integration lead, which means I handle sort of our assembly operations on the floor. I backed up David, helping him ship all of that GSE, ground support equipment, across the country. I've also helped transport our rover around for some of our big test campaigns at JPL. I lead lifts when we have to pick up spacecraft or components and put our spacecraft together. And in general, I'm on the high bay floor working with our large team of technicians to get that beautiful spacecraft assembled and ready to go to the launch pad.
Yeah, so here I'm throwing up an image here of that rover there. So talking about the technicians on the floor, there you can see actually above your image, there's a few of those guys there. So what is it that you guys do in that space? And I want to kind of comment on that. The clean room environment, as you see there, that's something that is very standard for spacecraft. That's something that all of our spacecraft have varying levels of cleanliness requirements. I know that's not your specialty and expertise, but are you guys the ones there in those bunny suits working on the rover, or is it really just a matter of that transportation aspect?
No, we're both in that high bay, almost every day, doing what other activities is assigned to us. And so, as Ben mentioned, we also work on the floor. We do different tasks. We can get tasked with a lot of procedures and development, mostly integration activities. And so, any one of us can be on the floor 1 or 2 shifts, or even 3 shifts when things are really around the clock. The picture you just saw there, that was the driving test. So that was the driving ramps that the GSE team provided to simulate actuation across the mobility system.
Yeah, and Ben, I know that you mentioned earlier to me that you guys have kind of a primary role, but everybody does a lot of things. It ends up kind of keeping the team lean. So what does that look like practically? Do you guys kind of just get tasked day to day to just, hey, jump in and help out with this? Or is it kind of, everybody just has lots of assigned roles that they work on?
You're exactly right. It's every day, early in the morning at 7:30, we get together and have a tactical meeting talking about the activities that are happening for the day. We have the rover we've talked about a lot. We also have essentially 4 more pieces of our spacecraft that help us get to Mars: cruise stage, descent stage, and aeroshell. So in that tactical meeting, we sort of divide and conquer who is working on what, who's directing what team, I need 4 technicians to do this, I need 2 technicians to do this. And engineers write procedures to handle those specific operations, but you may not be running a procedure you wrote. My buddy Ryan may give me a procedure that says, here, you go grab these techs and install this electric box. So we do have a very dynamic role on the floor.
That's awesome. So thinking about kind of transporting across the country, you're talking about these giant aircraft and these giant tractor trailers that are moving. So there we've got you guys on screen showing some of the actual operations. So what's it like once you get on the ground? How difficult is it even to just go a few miles from an airplane to the clean room environment?
Well, it's pretty challenging. These boxes you see in front of you here are no small task. Every key system was sort of put in a special containment box or container fixture that was designed specifically for on-the-road transport, and then also, as you see here, on a C-17. Each box, each sort of containment vessel has cleanliness requirements and protection requirements. They are tested, they are proof tested, they are even road characterization inside of its containment box. And then we do extra due diligence to make sure that we handle with care. Definitely a fragile item.
Yeah, no, certainly a handle with care thing. So I know you both mentioned to me earlier that this is your first major mission that you're working and supporting, which is phenomenal. I think you said 4 and 5 years you guys have been around with JPL, which is great. We're targeting a July launch with a planetary window of only a few weeks long. But I want to ask you guys, what's it like? How do you feel? Like you're getting ready to help put a small car, essentially, on the surface of Mars. What's that like for you, Ben, and then David? I'll hear from both of you.
It's a very exciting time. We've been working very hard, working long hours. There's a lot of personal sacrifice that happens to get a spacecraft like this to the launch pad. It's exciting, it's tiring, but we are looking forward to the end of this great adventure. It's going to be a very exciting day when that rocket leaves the Kennedy Space Center and we are on our way to Mars.
Yeah, David, how about you?
So as the Atlo engineer, we're kind of the last integrators, we're the last people that touch it, and basically we have a whole lab in companies of people that's entrusting the final sort of delivery of the product to us in our hands, and then so we have the weight of the shoulders of everyone that has worked on this program, and then making sure we do our due diligence and everything to sort of get this thing to the finish line and get this attached on top of its rocket. So it's a huge sense of pride and sense of relief that we're doing our best and we're on schedule and we're meeting all the requirements and the milestones as put forth on us.
Awesome. Well, David, Ben, I don't want to keep you any longer. I know there's a lot of work to do. Again, targeting a July window. There's still a few months to go, but lots to be done. So thanks, guys, for joining me today.
Thanks,
Thanks for having us.
And as you saw just a minute ago, I did throw up this URL. Please be sure to check this out if you want to get more information on this mission. It's mars.nasa.gov nasa.gov/Mars 2020. A phenomenal mission. Really excited for this. Cannot wait. But I do want to actually plug a couple other things today. I mentioned earlier the NASA at Home is a huge undertaking that NASA is doing right now. Understanding that there's a lot of people out there with opportunity to work on some things at home, whether it be with your kids or just for fun and entertainment. Specifically, I wanted to highlight one thing today. I'm going to do this every episode, pull something else out of here. This is actually a sample of a ebook on Cassini, another mission that was championed, kind of headed up, made happen by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. A phenomenal story here, phenomenal imagery, just learning so much about Saturn. So super cool there. Also want to bring up a few highlights in social media this week. Hopefully you saw these things. We're getting ready to have the first crewed launch of from American soil in 9 years. So we're launching American astronauts on American spacecraft, on American rockets from American soil, and we're super excited. And actually thinking forward a little bit, this is for SpaceX's second crew flight. We assigned a couple new astronauts this week. Shannon Walker, congrats to her. And then we also had the announcement of the Japanese astronaut Suichi Noguchi will be joining them as well. So making up a 4-person crew, they'll be joining Mike Hopkins and Victor Glover. Again, so much excitement going on. And then we also had happened this week. Let me see what we got. We had the announcement of the Gateway Logistics Element Award. The first part of it anyway is to SpaceX. There you see the Dragon XL, which is yet to be built. So excited for that progress as we get back to the moon with the Artemis program. First woman and next man on the moon by 2024. And then all you NASA fans out there will love this. The worm has reappeared. So the worm has been found, our classic NASA icon there in red, pictured on the side of that Dragon, that Falcon 9 rocket, today. Woo! We will be flying this. That is part of that first crewed mission. So excited for that. Cannot wait. Again, lots ahead, lots more to come. But that is going to do it from me here today. So again, want to encourage you guys to check out everything that is NASA at Home. That URL there, nasa.gov/NASA at Home. And also be sure to check out the hashtag NASA at Home, and use that as well as you do these activities, as you read and you understand and learn more. We'd love to hear from you and see what you're up to. So from the Kennedy Space Center, I'm Joshua Santora. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.